we are going to cover chapter 9. This is block week 4, session 1. Right. In chapter 9, we're going to deal with, motivation and compensation in the real estate context, right? So now we're talking about your role as perhaps a estate manager owner, right? Perhaps you've got your own estate agency company and you've got all the staff members working underneath you. And we're going to talk about how to keep them motivated and why it's important, really. That's the most important thing, right? It's a very interesting chapter, very easy. Just know all the definitions, really. There's nothing complicated in this chapter, really. Okay? We're going to talk about the importance of motivational programs. Why do we want our staff to be motivated? Okay? Why do we want them to be happy? Why do we want them to stay committed to the job? We're going to talk about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. You'll need to know the difference between the two and why it's so important in the real estate context. We're going to chat about extrinsic factors. We're going to talk about intrinsic factors. I'll come back to this in a minute. The importance of compensation plans. What is a compensation plan? How do we pay our staff? Are we going to pay them on a flat salary, on a compensation, so commission-based salary, or is it going to be a bonus structure? Are we going to give them benefits, right? That's all part of the process. Then we're going to talk about the compensation process, right? So just very quickly, just to give an overview, what is the difference between extrinsic factors and intrinsic factors, okay? So everybody's got needs, just very broadly. Everybody's got needs, right? The extrinsic factors is going to cover your need for payment, right? You need a salary. You need to buy food, right? You need to pay for rent. Working environment, interpersonal relationship. With intrinsic factors, we're talking about achievement programs and recognition programs, right? Helping them achieve self-actualization or becoming the best that they can be, right? That's a different kind of need that you've got. The more basic need is you need money to pay for your rent, you need money to pay for your food, you need a job, right? To feed the kids or whatever the case. But with intrinsic factors, just to give a brief difference between the two, with intrinsic factors, you're more concerned with how are you developing as a person? Are you becoming the best that you can be? Are you learning from your job? Are you actually moving forward? Right?
But then intrinsic factors mean how can you improve yourself to work on your own to achieve the best salary?
There we go.
Yeah.
It all connects, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely, right. Why is motivational programs important? You know this, right? It's important because you want increased job satisfaction. You want increased job performance. If somebody's good at what they're doing, if they like what they're doing, they're going to keep becoming better and better, right? And then at the end of the day, you as the owner of the company is going to benefit, right? You want organizational loyalty. You want them to actually like and enjoy the company that they work for, right? Decreased presenteeism. You don't want people to just sit at the desk and wait for the salary to come at the end of the month. You want them to be proactive. You want them to like the company and also push the company forward, right? You want low absenteeism. You don't want people to just not come to work. You don't want high staff turnover, right? Every 2 months there's a new receptionist in front, right? You don't want that. Right. Now let's talk about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivations, right? So these are different theorists and they've all covered the needs. These are philosophers and psychologists. They cover the different theories about human needs, okay? What is a human need? What is the most basic form of human need? You need to live, you need to eat, you need to breathe, you need to be safe, you need to have a house, right? Those are more basic needs, right? What are your higher level needs? Your higher level needs are achievement, recognition, right? Self-esteem, friendships and things like that, right? Yes? The meaning of intrinsic on its own is what is within you.
That one cannot see from above.
I suppose you could say so, yeah.
Something hidden.
Yes. Like the intrinsic value of something is the value that...
the intrinsic value of the land.
Yes.
Which you can know.
Yeah. Right, so let's talk about the difference between Maslow, Alderfer and Herzberg, right? Let's start here because Maslow has a lot more theory behind it, right? With Herzberg, right, Herzberg says that there are motivators and satisfiers and hygiene factors which are dissatisfiers, right? So his theory is based on a lot lower level things like hygiene. If your hygiene isn't, your hygiene in your surrounding isn't adequate, you're going to be dissatisfied. But if somebody's motivating you, you've got motivating factors around you, you're going to be satisfied. Again, it's just two very broad ways of looking at it, right? Alderfer says you've got growth needs, you've got relatedness needs, and you've got existence needs. Existence needs, you need to eat to exist, right? You need to be able to get rest to exist, right? That's at the lowest level. With growth needs, again, so again you're seeing this top and bottom thing, or this almost a spectrum, or we'll get to the pyramid. There's different levels that one goes through, right? With growth needs, you need to grow as a human being. You need to keep improving yourself, right? Every day you need to walk away with another skill or another lesson learned, right? And in between we've got relatedness needs, that's social needs, right? You can have people that's just around you, or you can have people that actually does care for you, right? You need family and friends that, and the bigger your circle, the happier you are, right? Now let's go to Maslow. Maslow he divides his understanding of needs into two big sets, right? Even though he portrays it as a pyramid with the highest order on top and the lowest order at the bottom, right? But we'll just deal with two, right? Lower order needs are food, shelter needs, health and safety needs, and belonging needs, right? So let's talk about that in the real estate context. Food and shelter needs, how do we get that? When we pay the person their basic salary. Think about that person that's just present, that's just sitting there, that's just that he's not happy, he doesn't like anything about his job, but he's getting a salary. We can only fulfill their basic lower order needs. I can't do anything else for you if you don't want to learn, right? Belonging needs, you do belong to this company, you are employed, and you do have family and friends that are there, but that's it, right? With the higher order needs, there's more social things. Everybody in the company likes you instead of just knowing you, right? All your family and friends like you. It's a higher order social need, right? Esteem, you're happy about yourself. You're happy with who you are. Self-actualization, you actually achieve the potential that you think you can achieve, right? Maybe you start out at one level, but you learn harder, you work harder, and you've got a vision for who you're going to be, and you actually reach that achievement level, almost, right? And knowledge needs and aesthetic needs, right? I'm happy with who I am, I'm happy with what I look like, and I'm happy with what I know, right? Self-actualization, higher order need. Right, now, extrinsic factors, right? These are the lower order ones. A job can satisfy your pay. You can sit there and you will get your salary, right? You've got a working environment. There's your desk. Do your job, right? It's very simple, it's very basic. Interpersonal relationship, those are the people around you. They can connect with you, but it's a much lower level, right? These are extrinsic factors, and this is why we want to motivate people to reach that higher level. Right. Expectancy value theory. This is a little bit tricky, but just follow it and understand it, right? Expectancy value theory. What this is essentially saying is, if you exceed your expectations, you're going to unlock higher value. Essentially, that's like just the simplest way of explaining that, right? With expectancy value theory, you've got a need that must be fulfilled, and an expectancy to fill that need, right? Instrumentality is when you actually are part of that, the process of fulfilling the need. Valence and reward. So what you'll see is the more you put in, the more you get out. Really, right? That's what's happening. If you push somebody harder, you expect more of them. They will achieve a higher value. They'll want to fulfill that new expectancy of them. And then there will be a reward based on that new achievement, right? If I think that you can only achieve 50%, then you'll probably just get by. But if I really want you to push you higher, I want you to cover that class test, I want you to go back and finish up that assignment, you will unlock that value and you will proceed to the next level. Okay? Extrinsic factors again, basic stuff. Remember, these are the lower order needs, right? They differentiate between the physical work environment and the non-physical work environment. What's your physical work environment? Basically where you sit. That's the easiest way to explain it. That's your physical work environment, the immediate surrounding of where you are in fact based during the day. Right? Health and safety. Right? I'm not the employer, right? I am not exposing you, the employee, to an unsafe work environment, right? There's not perhaps odors in the air or your chair isn't broken, right? That's one need met. Ergonomics and space design. Your desk is in fact big enough for you to sit in. You've got leg space and you do have access to water and a toilet or whatever, right? There's the kitchen if you need food, right? And then the space design. You've got a decent, not aesthetic, not decent looking, but you've got functional and it's efficient workspace, right? You've got workplace resources. You've got what you need, your tools for you to fulfill your job, right? I'm the employee, I'm giving you all the basic stuff, right? There's your laptop that you need to work on. There's your desk, there's paper if you need, and there's a pen, right? Basic stuff. Location. You are in fact not maybe close enough to where you live, but the location that I'm putting you in, my company, isn't based in a difficult area, right? It's safe enough for you to come to work. And privacy, you've got sufficient privacy exactly where you sit. You've got the basic needs met, right? Lighting, the light is in fact suitable for your work environment, and then noise, right? All the simple stuff. Now we're talking about a non-physical work environment, right? This is more intangible. Think of it that way. That is tangible, the stuff you can touch and feel, the physical space, and then this is non-physical, right? These are the other issues around where I'm working. The company rules and regulations. It's reasonable. I expect you to be here this time and to leave this time. I expect this kind of input and output out of you, right? And it's all within reason. Codes of behavior. It's reasonable for me to expect you to behave in a certain way, right? And pressure from management. These are your work deliverables, and it's not onerous, and you are able to achieve that, right? Again, these are the lower order stuff, right? With extrinsic factors, interpersonal relationship is a basic need of goal attainment. You are the I'm thinking of a very, very simple work environment, work situation, right? You are the canvasser, right? You need to bring me 10 leads every day. So basically, your goal attainment, can you bring in those 10 leads, right? Can you speak to 10 people and get 10 names? That would be a basic level, right? A higher level, or a higher level example of that would be there are 10 really, really good leads. So perhaps you picked up 20 names, but you're only bringing me the 10 good ones versus 10 names on a piece of paper, right? Goal attainment, you are in fact able to reach your goals. Advantages of good interpersonal relationships. If you get along with the people around you at the office, you'll more than likely have a better job performance ability, right? But the disadvantages of bad interpersonal relationships, if you don't like your manager, you don't like who you sit next to, you don't like who you share a cubicle with, or whatever, right? You're going to have dissatisfaction, you're going to have burnout, you're not going to be happy. I'm not going to see the results. Now we're talking about intrinsic factors, right? These are your, according to Maslow, Alderfer and Herzberg, these are your higher level, these are your higher level needs that we want to meet, okay? So sure, you've got a desk and a pen and a paper and a job, and you've got water in the water cooler, and you've got a salary, but let's see what else we can do to ensure that you reach your potential. That's what we want to do here. We can have achievement programs. Of the 10 canvases that I now employed, I'm going to give an award to the best 3, right? Achievement programs, recognition programs. if you do meet this goal, whoever of the 10 meet this goal, you will get your face on the Salesperson of the Year award placard or whatever, right? Or we can put it in the newspaper or whatever, right? We'll just make sure that you know that you did well and the world knows that you did well. Job enrichment, right? Perhaps at the end of the year of my 10 intern canvases, I'll say 3 of you will then move on to the next step, right? 3 of you will become senior canvassers. Or career advancement opportunity, that's very similar. Work-life balance programs, you know. I trust you. You actually work very hard. Sure, you know, if you want to work reduced hours and start again at 6 o'clock after, let's say, your kids are at home, I'm going to allow you that flexibility because you're proving your worth to me, right? And sure, you can work from, I don't know where, just take a laptop on holiday during work hours. You know, there's different ways that we show appreciation, right? I'm not going to bind you to office hours 8 till 5 at that desk. I'm going to allow you to be flexible and take accountability, right? And then there's ownership, very similar to that, taking ownership for your work. I'm not going to say, bring me 10 names every time. I trust that you'll bring it in and they will be good. Right, now let's talk about the achievement programs that we can do. Types of programs. You can have a sales contest, right? Now let's assume all our canvases are actually salespeople now, right? We can have a sales contest because you can actually quantify that. The value of either the amount of houses sold or the total value of the houses being sold, right? The person that gets the most will win. Then there's rewards for high performance, travel, money. So it either can be leisure travel, where you know you did well, you will go to Mauritius at the end of the year, or it can be money. I will pay you more. It can even be reimbursement, right? So lots of brokers often bear the cost of their own expenses, their own telephone calls, and so on. Perhaps you know you're actually doing well. I can see you're obviously phoning a lot more. I'm going to reimburse you for 30% of your calls, right? As an example. Right. Now we're talking about the recognition program still. Why is it important? It contributes to satisfaction and it's important for incoming sales associates. Right? You want them to go through the process and achieve higher career goals. Right? The sales associates are obviously the higher level salespeople. Job enrichment. Why is it important? Again, intrinsic factors. Why is job satisfaction job enrichment important, right? Task significance. I'm actually doing important work. I'm not just talking to 10 people. I'm finding 10 possible customers that could be big customers or that could be referrals for later on, right? I see the value and the role of what I'm doing. Task variety. Maybe I'm not just talking to people and getting 10 names every day. Maybe I'm actually, in fact, I'm starting to meet you. So in order for you to give me that, maybe you need to build a trust. Maybe I want that best lead. I'm actually going around and I've got difference in tasks. Let's take our office manager, for example. Our office manager doesn't need to just check the expenses and the income and send the necessary faxes or whatever the case may be. Maybe the the office manager is now arranging functions and arranging events and meeting with interesting people, right? You must have variety in your task. Task identity. This is what I do. This is my role and this is how I know I fit into this company. This is the role that I play and where I am. Okay? Autonomy. I've got that ownership to do what I need to do. Nobody's going to phone me every time, do you have another name? Do you have another name for my canvasser now? Right? I know what I'm doing. You'll get your work at the end of the day. And then feedback. I'm getting the necessary feedback to tell me where I am in the process and how well I'm doing. With greater autonomy and greater responsibility, you're getting more job satisfaction out of your staff, right? You're showing them that you trust them, right? So that, let me just go back one last one. With a greater autonomy and greater responsibility, you'll see that now comes back to that expectance value chain, right? That with the reward is at the end of the day. Okay. Career advancement opportunities, very quickly. This is just straightforward. Let's say you're getting somebody let's say somebody starts out as a canvasser, But now you can actually see they're actually dealing very well with people and you want to move them into sales. They can then become a sales associate or senior sales associate or even one day a partner, right? That's just going through different streams, the different career advancement streams, right? Sales management, sales associate, very similar again, up all the way down to partner. Right. Now we're talking about, remember we spoke about work-life balance programs and stuff and achieving that work-life balance program. That's again that higher order, right? You want to push people through to get that higher order of operating within your company. Let's talk about work-life balance programs, right? Flexible work hours. Everybody wants flexible work hours, right? It would be nice to not be stuck and chained to your desk from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock with a 15-minute break here and there. It would be nice. That's flexible work hours. You only give those to people that you trust, right? Flexible leave arrangements. We spoke about that also very briefly, right? Flexible leave arrangements. So even though we didn't put in leave, but something comes up very suddenly, I'll say, you know what, it's fine. Go ahead, go on that unexpected holiday quickly, and I know that the work will be done either before or still by the deadline, right? Reduced work hours. Some people prefer to have reduced work hours because they know that they're putting in the work at home, right? Maybe if you have small children or you need to look after your parents or, right? Whatever the case may be. And then there's a flexible location. Listen, there's lots of traffic. I'm going to work until 9 o'clock from the coffee shop around the corner and then I'll head through after traffic. Sure, no problem. I know you're actually working, right? Flexible work locations. It's results bound, absolutely. Absolutely. That person that's operating at that low level, of potential, the guy that's just sitting at their desk doing what they have to do, waiting for their salary, I don't think I will say, sure, work from home. Because if you can't perform here, how do I trust that you're going to perform outside, okay? Now we're talking about prioritizing for work-life balance, right? You identify the person's priorities. Oh, you've actually got an invalid mother at home. I understand why you need that flexible arrangement, right? Get to know the person. Organize the workspace. Okay, fine, sure. So you say you've got small kids and you need to work a little bit from home. Sure, go home, but I know you've got a little office set up at home, right? Create to-do lists. These are all the different ways that you can ensure that you can actually get it. You know your tasks. You know what's due. You know your deadlines. Do it wherever you need to. I just want the deadlines met. That's all I actually want, right? Take an hour of power. Plan ahead, do maintenance, right? There's all just different techniques to ensure that everybody's on the same page and the work will still be done. Then of course you can have your flexibility. And then finally, team approach, right? With a team approach you get a virtual assistant and equal partners. With a team approach, let's say the two of you are in a team and your daughter has a play on, but you can hold the fort for a bit, right? You won't, as a manager, wouldn't need to worry about that, right? Or right? You work together and you make sure everybody is in fact covered for flexibility. Right. Again, intrinsic factors, ownership. That's when you take accountability for your work and you're proud of your own work and you make sure that everything is in fact met on time, right? It's an important source of positive emotion, right? If I don't have somebody breathing down my neck all the time, am I doing the right thing? I'm actually going to enjoy what I'm doing and I'm going to take accountanship and ownership for my work. I'm not going to just give you 10 names on a paper, right? Because I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting your time. I'm going to hunt down that really good leads, right? I'm going to hunt down the ones that are in fact looking for to rent space in the student location across the road, right? It's a sense of pride. When I give you my work, I know that you'll be happy with what I just gave you, right? And it creates a sense of meaning in life, you know what that is, and a sense of legacy. Everybody knows my reputation with what I just do, with what my work is like, right? And then now you're achieving that self-actualization, self-actualizing experience. I now see that I'm possibly achieving that potential that I always wanted. I've always dreamed of being that person with that fantastic reputation that everybody knows, with this fantastic network, right? I see that it's growing because my 10 names aren't just 10 names, they're good people, they're good leads, right? I'm developing a reputation with them. They know me, my company now touched base with them and connected with them. I know that these are good potential sales. I know that there's a reward based on what I just did there, right? That's the self-actualizing experience when I'm achieving my potential. Right. Now we're talking about compensation plans. Compensation plans is how are we going to pay our staff, right? Am I going to give you a flat salary? Am I going to give you commission-based, right? That's all of this comes in now. Right. This is what we want. Oops, gosh, sorry. Okay. This is what we want. This is what we don't want. Again, similar to the previous chapter. We want increased job performance. We want job satisfaction. We want a good job morale. You want organization loyalty. I want you to like my company, and I want to like you representing my company. That's what you're doing here. You want decreased presenteeism. Don't just sit in a desk and answer the phone and do nothing else. Take part. Love your company. Take part. Be present. Be active. Right? You don't want presenteeism. Sorry, that was a bit confusing. I said be present. Presenteeism is when you're just sitting there and just existing. Right? When I say be present, I mean be here. Look alive. Look sharp. Right? Do your bit. Say hello nicely when you're answering the phone.
You are there, but you're not there.
Exactly. I'm here in body. I'm here in body, not spirit, right? That's what you don't want that. That's presenteeism. When you're there in body, but not spirit. You're just sitting there. Absenteeism is when you're actually completely not there. You're sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself, whatever, right? And you don't want a high staff turnover. Right. Compensation process. How do we, let's unpack this, right? You identify the elements, right? Do I want to give you a flat salary for just existing as part of my company? Do I want to only pay you for the work that you do, like a commission? Only if you bring something that leads to a sale will you get paid? Or do I want to cover your benefits? Do I want to give you medical aid and what's the other thing, sorry, preservation funds and provident funds and those things, right? And then we do the packaging of the elements. I can do a bit of everything, but how am I going to present it to you? Maybe you can have a small basic with a bit of commission, and I'll give you something. Maybe I'll reimburse you for expenses, right? How do I present this to you? How do I package the elements? And then validating the process. That's again coming all the way back. Is it in fact effective? Going through the due diligence of what I just did, right? Is what I'm doing in line with what I'm supposed to do? Right, let's go through it very quickly. These are all different, there's definitions in the textbook. You must know the definitions and know what the difference between them are. Okay, because these are the elements. Let's talk about the elements first. You get direct elements, you get indirect elements, right? Direct elements. Salary, that's your actual salary that you get regardless of what you're doing, right? You can just sit there and be there in body, not spirit like we said, but you will still get your salary, right? Commission, that's based on the stuff, that's the payment that you get for a sales that has actually gone through, right? Wages, maybe that's a weekly. Salary is monthly, wages is weekly, okay? Referral fee, maybe I'm just going to give you payment for those 10 leads that you brought in, right? Expense accounts, right? Maybe you can be reimbursed for your expenses, right? Incentives, if you bring me 10, you'll get your referral fee, but if you bring me 15, you'll get something extra. Or you bring me 10 very good ones, you'll get something extra, right? Bonuses, profit sharing, and stock options. You guys know what that means, right? Stock options is maybe you can buy into the company. Profit sharing is a certain portion of all the company sales for that year will then split it up, right? Indirect elements. Now these are the stuff that is due to you but doesn't come as cash in your pocket, basically, right? Health insurance, health and life insurance. I'll cover you for that portion while you work with me, right? I'll pay you insurance for that, right? Social security, retirement plans, that's those provident and preservation funds that we spoke about. And paid time off. When you go and leave, you'll still get money for that portion of time that you're not working, okay? Sure, this is a bit small. Right, let's just read through it, right? The compensation process, now we're packaging the elements. How am I going to structure your compensation, right? It obviously depends on the role that you're playing, right? Let's take your frontline receptionist, for example. I'm not going to cover her expenses because she's not traveling, she's not making phone calls at risk. You know, she's not taking people out to lunch based on hoping to get a good lead, right? So just that it would be different for every different role, okay? So let's start here at the bottom. Individual factors. Depends on the job position, depends on the learning periods and the needs and preference, okay? Organizational factors. It depends on the financial resources of the company. Maybe we've actually make a lot of profits and I can give you everybody profit sharing because we're all working together. Just because my frontline receptionist isn't in fact making leads doesn't mean she's not working hard. It depends on my personal structure of my company and where I feel I can spend money, right? Marketing and strategy objectives. I'm not going to read through everything, right? Let's go to market factors. What's the actual demand, right? Maybe I'm based in a market that there's not a lot of demand. Maybe my sectional title scheme is the owners of the sectional title scheme. Remember we used the example, we've got student accommodation and we're getting canvases from the university across the road to work for us, right? Remember our example? Maybe in our sectional title scheme, none of the students are in fact going to buy a place at the sectional title scheme, and the owners of the sectional title schemes is not looking for student tenants, right? That would be a difficult market. Maybe my canvassers are in fact working very hard to get those possible tenants and the possible landlords to, right? To meet minds, right? Competitive landscape, maybe there's a seasonal pattern. I can't have maybe my canvassers are working extra hard in December when there's no students, right? But they're still bringing in leads. Those are market factors. That's if I see you are in fact still performing in a dry market, I think I'll probably compensate you a bit more, right? And then there's industry factors like industry norms and changes to industry and stuff. That also will affect how I compensate you. Now, we're validating the process. Again, with the validating the process in all of these chapters, when we validate, we're looking back, we're going through the due diligence, we're seeing if what we are doing is in fact in line with what we should be doing, right? Pre-testing, I'm not going to go through this, it's pretty straightforward, right? Pre-testing, right? You test what you do before you actually go ahead and declare it or launch it or send it out to the market or whatever, right? Administering it, right? That's the day-to-day process to make sure that everything is in order. Evaluating, right? At the end of the day, after I've done it, sit back, has it in fact worked? Was it efficient? Was it the right approach? Maybe I shouldn't be getting canvases in for 10 leads. Maybe I should up the game perhaps and say for 10 leads that leads to a sale, that's when you get your compensation, and it will be a much bigger compensation. So don't just give me your 10 names, give me 10 really good ones, right? Evaluating, is the way I'm structuring my compensation in fact working? Maybe nobody should be on a salary basis. Maybe it should depend on your effectiveness as a company as a whole, as a team as a whole, right? Modify the compensation plan. Okay, it didn't work. Get rid of all the salaried employees that just sit there and are just sitting there in body, like you say, right? Modify my compensation plan. Get everybody to work harder and unlock benefits and give compensation based on merit, right? And then I monitor my compensation plan. Is it in fact working? We changed it. Let's see, let's test. Is it working? I see everybody's working a bit harder. The guy that was a salaried employee is actually sitting a bit straighter, is talking a bit nice on the phone, is bringing in better results, right? And that is it. That was a nice chapter. What did we discuss, right? So again, let's just go back all the way to the beginning. We use the example of we own an estate agency or brokerage company, and we've got both salaried and commissioned workers working for us, and there's a few of them that are operating at the low level, and there's a few of them that's operating at the high level. That was our example. We now know what's the importance of motivational programs. We know that we want people to move from that lower level to that higher level, right? That's why it's important. We want people to be motivated because they will perform better. We spoke about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. The entire chapter, very importantly, the entire chapter 9 is based on the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So while it won't be examinable, it would be nice to read up exactly what does Maslow say, apart from the notes. It is in the notes, that was brief, but if you want to actually understand the big differences between the two, Google Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Google Alderfer in Herzberg, right? And know the difference between those two low levels and high levels, or the spectrum, right? Moving from the lowest level up to the highest level, okay? We spoke about extrinsic factors. Basic needs are met. I have got a salary. I am being paid. I do have a job. I'm sitting here, aren't I? Right? Interpersonal relationship. There's the guy that sits next to me in the cubicle. Yeah. It's low order social needs that are being met. Intrinsic factors. Achievement program. If I do better, if I do well, I will be recognized. I will be rewarded based on my achievement, right? Job enrichment. I'm going to move through the ranks. I want to get better, and I want to increase my career advancement opportunities. I want that work-life balance program. I want the flexibility. If I give much, much more while I'm here, I will get flexibility. I can get paid leave. I can work from the coffee shop around the corner. Okay? Ownership. I'll take ownership for my work. I'll make sure my deadlines are met. All my staff are actually operating at the higher level. Then we spoke about the importance of compensation plans, understanding the different kinds of compensation plans, understanding the different elements. There was direct and there was indirect elements of the compensation plan, and how to structure it according to the different roles. Then we spoke about the compensation process, where we identify the different elements and we package the elements. How much of indirect must I give you? How much of direct? Which one does it depend on your role? Okay, and then we validated the process, right? Stepping back and looking, was our method in fact effective? That is it. Quite a nice chapter. Yeah, thank you.